Hey everybody, I just want to do a quick video to follow up about the video that I put out on Monday, which was, I titled it Connect. I'll put a little link right up here somewhere. So something about the video that I had actually forgotten about until I released it and then went back and started looking at some things was that that was actually shot back in October 15th of 2015. And it was actually part of a worldwide eye contact experiment project that was put on by the Liberators International. They've done a lot of really cool videos about this kind of thing in different places around the world, and they basically created this event to try to get people in cities all around the world to do this. And I'm here in Dallas, and the group here in Dallas that decided to put it on, it was called the Promote Love Movement, which is who I highlight in this video at the end of it. In fact, I'll put a link down in the description to a video that the Liberators put out that highlighted all the different places around the world where they did this, and it was all over the place. It was a really big deal and really cool, and I'd kind of forgotten that this was a part of that. Now that I'm realizing that, I'm like, wow, I'm glad that I had some little piece of it. This whole idea came about a few years ago. Some of you may know I do some acting from time to time, so I go out on auditions. It's usually a really fruitless exercise. Anybody that's an actor can tell you auditions are the worst. But I went on an audition a few years ago, and I was paired up with a woman that I'd never met before in my life, and we were supposed to play a couple. And so while they were getting everything ready, they're like, okay, you guys just face each other and, just kind of look into each other's eyes, and we'll go from there. And I forget what the commercial was for. I forget why we were staring at each other. But point being, they were messing around with the camera. They had some technical difficulties, and me and this girl were looking at each other. And she was a total pro. She just stood there and just stared right at me, but I had so much trouble with it. It was so difficult for me. I mean, I felt like I was going to go cross-eyed. I was doing... And that kind of sparked an idea in me that I've had for a long time that would be more of like a comedy thing, kind of showing how awkward it is to hold eye contact. And I was going to try to set up a booth at a festival or something like that and just kind of get strangers to do that, just to record the awkwardness of it, because that's what, stood out to me. And then the Liberators International started doing these videos where they were doing these eye contact experiments around the world. And they were really profound, and it went into, psychologically how important eye contact is and human contact in general. And I started thinking, man, that's even cooler. I really like that idea. So anyway, I found out a friend of mine posted something on Facebook about the Promote Love movement doing the thing in Dallas. So when I found out about it, I was like, oh, I want to record that. I think that would be a great thing. So I pulled in some guys, James and Nick, a couple of guys that I know here in Dallas that have drones and steady cams and all this stuff, and they liked the idea, so we all got together and just recorded it. And that was back in October. And there were a lot of things I wanted to do with it. I was going to bring in a psychologist to talk about the importance of eye contact and human contact and that kind of thing. I was going to get interviews with Steph and Kristen, the girls behind the Promote Love movement. It was really hard to get everybody, lined up to make that happen. Steph is actually an LGBT wedding photographer. And since the Supreme Court case last year, she's been busy. She's been really busy. She's been traveling all around the country, and great for her. I couldn't be happier. And I've had some comments on the video of people saying how difficult it is to maintain eye contact and how hard that would be to do that. And it is hard. But like where I work, there's a big, long hallway that is on every floor of the building. I mean, I'm trying to think of exactly how long it would be. It's a really long hallway. And it's diabolical because when you're walking down it, you can see somebody, somebody's walking towards you. It's going to be 30 seconds at least before you finally get to them. And if it's somebody that there's this whole calculus that you do in your head where it's like, okay, when do I actually say hi? When do I wave or something, where it's like you smile and then you just keep walking. And then it's just so awkward and weird. My inclination when I'm walking down the hallway is I might make eye contact with people, but I immediately look away. But I've been doing some reading on things like eye contact and on just how to carry yourself in public and that kind of thing. So one day at work, I thought I would just try to be a little bit different. Instead of looking away the way I always do, I was like, I'm going to force myself to look at people in the eye and hold that gaze as I walk past them. So I tried it, and I found it really interesting because as I was walking down the hallway and just meeting people, I would I would do that and they would actually talk to me. Like they would start a conversation with me, whereas normally they would just, hey, and keep walking. And that was an interesting lesson in how people react to you and how what you put out, even in the smallest, twinkle of an eye, makes people act differently towards you. Because especially if you're a bit of an introvert, which I can be, if you and the other person both have that look away tendency, then it's really hard to make a conversation happen because you're both kind of avoiding that. But if you are able to make some tiny change in yourself that makes them open up to you, that makes it much easier for you to have this conversation with that person. So it's actually pretty important. And I also just thought I would touch just really briefly on the creative process and how a lot of times the end result is not at all what you started out trying to do, but that doesn't make it any less interesting or important. It's really easy to look back on your original intent on a project and judge the success of it off of that. Say, did I achieve that thing that I wanted to do? But sometimes what you wind up creating isn't at all what you set out to do, because the people who are watching it, they don't know what you set out to do in the beginning. All it matters is, does it speak to them? And if it does, then you pulled it off. And that's something I'm having to remind myself, because this project didn't turn out the way I really intended it to. But I think it still has a powerful message, and I think that people are responding to it well, so I'm happy about that. And I think I'll leave it with that. I've got another video coming up on Monday, other big stuff on the way, so thank you guys so much for being subscribers and for being supporters. Thank you for all the comments that you've been leaving, and I'll see you next time.